Hi everyone, welcome back to Crochet Rocks. Tracy here. So this little part of our crochet along, I've decided to do some fairly easy stitches. We've had some pretty intricate ones here and there, so I thought I would do some nice and easy ones. However, things are not always as they seem. I did a video for this yesterday and my easy stitches, I messed them up completely, so here I am again. So yeah, just want to let you know that we all make mistakes, and just because I've been crocheting since I was about 6 years old doesn't make me immune. So yeah, if you've made any mistakes along the way, it's fine. Now, we've got some stitches that bulk out, we've got some that pull it in, and we've got some that are just kind of straight and normal. So if your work is doing this, is pulling in, don't worry too much about that. We will border this blanket, and it's because this was quite a bulky stitch and these are quite thin. Now you will notice I haven't done quite as much on this side as I have on this one. I just thought, well, I don't really need to do it absolutely identical. As long as we're here with a swatch to make our next part, then that's fine. So I'm choosing pink this time, and I've also got my crochet hook. One thing that is missing is my glasses. So I'm going to pause the video and get ready to start this, and I'll come back to you. So in the meantime, if you haven't already, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And parts 1 and 2, I will try and remember to put them in the description box below, you know, where you can click more. So if you want to find those, there's right-handed and left-handed. So I'll do that as well, and hopefully if you want to take part, you can catch up fairly quick because we've only done a couple of parts already. Okay, I'll just pause it then, and I'll come back to you once I have my specs. Okay, so I'm steaming up now. My glasses are steaming up, must be hot. Okay. Honestly, I didn't prepare for that. Okay, so we're starting on a wrong side row. We finished off here, and you should be finished off on the right side. If not, it doesn't really matter. You just do one extra row of UK double crochets, which, if you remember, are single crochets in the US. And if I say double crochet, you'll know I mean singles for you guys. Okay, I'm going to work over the tail. I know it's only a swatch, but you never know what I might do with it eventually. Okay. So just bear with me a second. I've got to clean these glasses. Sorry about that. They'll probably steam up again though. But, well, it was a bit of a surprise. Okay, so now we're going to do a row of, as I said before, UK doubles, which are just nice and simple. And I'm going to pull on these stitches here to put that right. Okay, so it's just one in each. Now this swatch has 40 stitches, and even though it does pull in quite a bit, it's the difference in the stitches and the difference in the yarn that I'm using. My yarn is quite, well, I'm using a variety of them. So yeah, nice and simple all the way to the end. I like to finish on a wrong side row and then start the row with a kind of a foundation of these UK doubles, and it kind of puts the new colour in a nice straight line, unless I want to kind of achieve a look where I don't do that. That's what I do. Okay, I'm going to pause it then and catch up with you once I get to the end of this row. Okay, so I've made it all the way along. Now, you know, I say to you, if your stitch count, if the stitch I'm using doesn't work out too well with the stitch count, you won't notice it because you won't see both ends. Well, obviously on my swatch you will, but on the blanket you won't, so that's fine. And you also will notice the little bit of pulling in because obviously it's a small swatch. Okay, so we're going to turn our work, and this particular part are V-stitches, but they are modern V-stitch. So the difference between the V-stitch and the modern V-stitch is that the modern one does not have a chain in between the two UK trebles, which you might remember, are US doubles. Okay, so if I say UK treble and you're working in US terms, you will know that I mean the double crochet. So in the first stitch, which is this one here, I'm going to do the stack, which is, as we've done before, getting us up to the height of a UK treble. Okay, so I'm going to skip one, and in the next stitch I'm going to put 2 UK treble crochets, and then I'm going to skip one and put 2 in the next stitch. And I'm going to do that all the way along. Skip one and 2 in the next stitch. So traditional V would have a chain between these two, but I quite like the look of the modern V-stitch, and also when you place stitches in between, it does pull them apart anyway, so it has that same effect. Okay, so 2 in the next one, then skip 1, 2 in the next one. Do that until you're within a couple of stitches towards the end, and I will catch up with you at the end of the row. Okay, so I have 3 stitches left, so I could skip one, do my V, and then do a stitch, but I've got a feeling that would bulk it out and make it bulge. So what I'm going to do is just put 1 in each of the last 2 stitches. I toyed with the idea of a V-stitch in there, but then I thought I'd like to have a definite post at the end of my row. So it's, I think, doing it right next, doing a V-stitch right next to the stitch, as we've got a gap here, it wouldn't look, it'd be a bit too bulky, possibly. Didn't really want to play with it that much. Okay, so this row, we need to do the stack in our first stitch. And don't forget, we have 2 stitches at the end here, so we need to do 1 in our second stitch. So what we're going to do now is we've got our V's, and we're going to do a V-stitch inside each V-stitch. So we're just going to put 2, see what I mean, it pulls it open, put 2 in between each of our V's, all the way to the end of the row, nice and easy. I really like the modern V-stitch. I actually made a whole shawl with it once. Really, really pretty. I like it. Okay, so you know what I'm going to say now. I'm going to pause the video then and catch up with you once I've done this whole row, because it gets a little boring just watching me V-stitch. But that's what we're aiming for. So you can see the top row is still a little tighter and the bottom row is getting pulled out quite nicely. Okay, so almost to the end. Just got to do my last one in my final post and turn. So doing this, we will, if to do what I want to do next, we will have a total of 39 stitches rather than the 40, so we will lose a stitch along the way. So we really need to stop that from happening. So the first post, the first one, I am going to do a UK double crochet, and I'm going to do 1 in the first post, 1 in the space, and 1 in the second post. Okay, so we're now going to do a UK double crochet, which is a single, remember, inside our V's to pull them open to the same width, if you like. Just bear with me a second. I have a parcel. Sorry about that. It wasn't even for me, it's for next door, which is always a little annoying, isn't it? Okay, so, right, it's going to change now. What we're going to do is 1 in the first post and 1 inside the V, which will be the stitch for here. 1 in the first post and 1 inside the V, one inside, sorry, the first post, and one inside the V. I was going to say inside the first post, but it is, I guess. First post in the V. So what do I mean by first post? This is our first post, and this is our second one. So one in there, and one in the V. And we're going to do that all the way along. It keeps our stitch count right and also opens the V's up. Okay, I want you to carry on all the way to the end, and I'll catch up with you when I get to the last few stitches. Okay, so I've made it to my last V, and now we just need to put one in each of our last two stitches. My V, or is this one? It's this one, I believe. A little tighter than the other one. Okay, so there we are. Made it all the way along. And if we turn our work, excuse me, our V stitches are now nicely pulled out and identical. So what I want is 4 rows of these UK double crochets. So now we just do 3 rows of working one into each stitch. Nice and simple. I promised you a nice simple part, and this is it, guys. This is the simple part. Bit tedious, I know, with the blanket. This is a swatch and it wasn't so bad, but obviously going along the blanket, I'll show you exactly how this looks. I like the way it's turned out. What we've got is our V's, and then we've got a row or a few rows of stitches between, and then we've got the V's again. It's hard to show you against this background. Let's see if I can get that. With the table in the background might be a lot easier. So there you are. That's kind of how it's looking. And that's what we're really kind of going for now. We're going for the 2 V's and then a nice close bit, 2 V's, and then I want this to mirror this part here because I've got something else planned for when we get to the next part. Okay, so nice and simple then. 1 in each for 3 more rows. So yeah, bit boring to watch me do that, guys. So I'll pause it then, and I'll catch up with you when I'm on my very final few stitches of my this is my second, so I've got to do 2 more after this, and then I'll come back to you. Okay, so now we've done that. Now we're going to repeat 2 rows of V's, exactly the same as before. So the first row we will have our 2 stitches, and then on the way back 2 stitches before we start our row, and then we'll do 1 in the post, 1 in the V. But remember, the first 3 stitches we have to do before we start 1 in the post, 1 in the V, and then 3 rows of just normal UK double crochets, and that will be the kind of segment finished, and I'm working on the next part as we speak. So I don't think they just need to repeat this. So if you want to recap, then just start back at the V stitch row, and so you won't need me to like record it again, if you know what I mean. It's already there. So if you get stuck at any point, just rewind it to that part where we start the V's and then do this part. So that's kind of it for this time. It's quite a nice size part though. It's given us a nice chunk. Of course, you can change colour whenever you want. If you want to do this next bit in a different colour, that's perfectly fine. But I'm going to be doing a little bit of colour changing in the next segment. So thank you for watching. Hope you're enjoying our crochet along, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye for now.